May 6, 1937. Cameras are rolling as the Hindenburg glides toward Lakehurst, carrying passengers aboard what the world calls the future of travel. In 34 seconds, that future burns. How did a flying luxury liner become the moment airships died? Hundreds gathered on the Lakehurst field that evening, drawn by the promise of spectacle and the future. Newsreel cameras lined the perimeter, their operators jockeying for the best view as the Hindenburg, sleek, silvery, and impossibly vast, descended from the clouds. Reporters clutched notepads and microphones, ready to capture a routine landing that was anything but routine. Families pressed against the ropes, children craning their necks to see the floating giant that had crossed the Atlantic in comfort and style. The air buzzed with excitement and the hum of anticipation. To those on the ground, the Hindenburg was not just a machine, it was proof that the age of luxury air travel had arrived. But how did a flying luxury liner become the moment airships died? That question, hanging in the humid New Jersey air, would soon echo far beyond the field. It left behind not just wreckage, but a mystery that still demands answers. For nearly a decade, the world watched rigid airships rise from engineering marvel to everyday reality. The Graf Zeppelin, launched in 1928, logged 590 flights across oceans and continents, more than any other airship in history. Its journeys were not feats of luck, but of planning and precision. Each departure meant dozens of ground crew choreographing movements beneath hangars that stretched longer than a city block and stood taller than a cathedral. Inside, passengers strolled through wood-paneled lounges and dined beneath soft lights, sipping coffee while clouds drifted past panoramic windows. Marketing posters promised the skyline of freedom and a week of comfort in 5 days. For the public, these images were not fantasy, they were proof. If the Graf Zeppelin could circle the globe and return home without a single fatal accident, why doubt the future? Trust in airships was not blind optimism. It was built on schedules kept, records set, and the sheer spectacle of a flying hotel drifting over city skylines. To invest in the Zeppelin era was to believe in progress you could see, and for a lucky few, touch. The Hindenburg was more than a symbol, it was an engineering gamble shaped by global politics. At 245 meters long, its rigid duralumin skeleton was a masterpiece of German design, holding 16 gas cells deep within the frame. Each cell was meant for helium, a non-flammable gas. But in the 1930s, the United States controlled the world's helium supply and refused to export it, enforcing the Helium Act of 1925. That left Hugo Eckener, Zeppelin's chief engineer, with a stark choice: wait for a diplomatic breakthrough that never came, or fill the ship with hydrogen, a gas everyone knew was dangerous, but that lifted more weight and was easy to produce in Germany. Inside the Hindenburg, hydrogen offered the lift needed for luxury cabins, lounges, and a transatlantic range. But every journey depended on a silent hope that no spark, no static, no mistake would ignite the invisible risk built into every flight. The decision to fly with hydrogen didn't come from recklessness. It came from a world where politics, economics, and ambition left no other way forward. The Hindenburg's very routine, its daily operations, and its scheduled landings carried a compromise that set the stage for disaster. Captain Max Pruss stood on the Hindenburg's bridge, eyes fixed on the shifting winds and the maze of ground crew below. Lakehurst's weather refused to settle. Gusts swung from 12 to 30 miles per hour, each shift forcing another course correction. The ship's log recorded every adjustment: ballast released, hydrogen vented, engines throttled back, then forward again. Each maneuver carried risk. As the Hindenburg hovered at 150 feet, Pruss ordered a 15-second vent of hydrogen, longer than standard protocol. The gas, invisible and lighter than air, drifted near the forward vent, just as the ground crew prepared the mooring lines. Down below, teams raced to catch the first guide ropes, their movements rehearsed but urgent. The choreography depended on perfect timing, but the wind kept changing the script. A sudden shift at 7:10 in the evening forced the helmsman to apply opposite thrust, rolling the ship 5 degrees to port. The bridge log noted turbulence and minor roll, but the real danger was building in silence, hidden inside the ship's skin. In these final minutes, every decision, each vent, each line dropped, each correction stacked up, turning a routine landing into a test of fragility. One invisible factor, more than any crowd or camera could see, was about to decide the fate of the Hindenburg. Historians and engineers still debate what exactly turned the Hindenburg's final descent into a firestorm. The first flames were seen near the forward port vent, just seconds after the last mooring line dropped. One leading theory points to static electricity. As the grounded mooring cable touched the earth, a hidden charge may have leapt from the airframe, igniting hydrogen that had pooled during the extended venting. Another camp argues the ship's outer skin, coated with a mix of iron oxide and aluminum, acted almost like a fuse, burning hot and fast when sparked. Still others revisit reports of a fuel leak or even sabotage, though no hard evidence has ever surfaced. The world heard the disaster unfold in real time. Herbert Morrison's trembling voice crackled over the radio, saying, "Oh, the humanity!" as newsreels raced to theaters and headlines circled the globe. Within days, Deutsche Zeppelin Reederei cancelled all commercial airship service. Bookings vanished. Confidence collapsed. The Hindenburg's fall wasn't just a technical failure, it was the end of an era. Yet the Graf Zeppelin had crossed oceans without a single fatality. Why was one night of fire enough to erase a decade of progress? That question still haunts the history of flight. One landing erased decades of ambition. Today, a single image can still topple entire industries overnight. The Hindenburg reminds us that progress dazzles until trust burns faster than engineering ever predicts.